Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me here today on the Heart of the Soul podcast. My name is Amana, and I am so happy that you're here. This is a space where we explore what it means to be wild women walking upon this shared earth. Together, we connect through the ancient ritual of storytelling, often sharing about that which is unseen and unspoken. It's my hope that soaking in these stories may inspire you to uncover your own innate knowing and center you into a more embodied and alive version of your beautiful, unique self. Today is where I am. It's Friday, February 20th, 2026, and it's around 7 a.m. Our moon is currently waxing towards our next full moon in Virgo on March 3rd. I am delighted to have Julia Turcato with me here today through the cosmos on Zoom from across the world. So, Julia, I would love if maybe we just start by you sharing where in the world you are and that the time is different where you are.
Yes, so I'm in Mozambique, which is in the southeast of Africa, very close to the border of South Africa. Actually, where I live, I could literally throw a stone into South Africa. I'm by the ocean, and February is one of the hottest months for us. We are in the heat of it all, and we have a bit of rain here and there, so it's just very green and very sweaty.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, and it's
Okay.
the evening. Yeah, my day is ending. So we're on the same day, but my day is ending as yours
Yeah.
begins.
Yeah, sweet. So I've loved sort of getting to know you a little bit through social media and some voice messages and such. But I wonder if just in a few words you want to share a little bit about your life or what's important to you right now.
Um, so yeah, I'm living here. Sometimes I wonder how that even happened. So yeah, just kind of going with the flow and growing a little family. I have a 4-year-old boy and husband, and I've been very nomadic, and this is the first time in my life, or since a long time, that I'm sort of growing some roots and trying to settle a little bit. And I give sort of transformational journeys, maybe I should call it that, to groups of people that come to me. And that too is mind blowing that that's my work now. Like, yeah, so I like my life blows my own mind a
Yeah.
lot of the time. And I think I often have a lot of doubts, but then sometimes I take a step back and I'm like, wow, this is like so awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful. So I wonder if you could take us back to where were you born and what do you know of your birth story from your own mom? Were you the first? Were you the third? Like, yeah. Tell me more.
Okay.
Where does Julia begin?
Yes, so I was born in Switzerland to a British Swedish mother who had come to Switzerland to learn French as an au pair and never left. And she loved the mountains. She was a big mountaineer, very sporty, outdoorsy woman. And my father was an Italian man who also moved to Switzerland to work because back in those days there was a lot of work opportunities, and I think he was an engineer or something. He was working at CERN. There's that famous big circle where they blow anyway. So they met there, and I am born there. My birth story is very sort of, yeah, I was born at the hospital there, and there didn't seem to be any complications. My mom never said much about it. Like, I think she just said she had a big meal that day and then went for a walk and then said, oh, I need to go to the hospital. Like, I think the baby's coming. I know that my dad kind of fainted, and everyone started looking at him and being like, are you okay? But apart from that, I wasn't really, there weren't very many birth stories. And I'm the first. So I'm the first. My dad really wanted a child. He had been married previously for 10 years and then
Mhm.
to my mom, and he really wanted children. I think my mom, not as much, because she was a very mommy mom. Like she was home, she baked cookies. Like she was to me the perfect mom. But I remember asking her once, like, Mom, did you want to be a mom? And she was like, not really. I actually really liked my life before you guys. I was like, oh, that's so funny that a woman who didn't really want children became such an amazing mom, I think. And then I had a sister who's born 18 months after, I think a bit faster than they had planned. And there too, she's born at the same hospital. My mom had baked a bread that morning. They kept a slice, which my sister still has. And
Kept
yeah,
a
pretty,
slice of that loaf of bread.
yes, with the date on it. It's like a crust.
That's so fun. Wow.
Yeah, so like that was it. And then on my dad's side, they're all Italian Catholic. There was no talking much about this at all. I never heard one single story, and I forgot to ask. Now a lot of them are past, or my grandma is anyway.
Mm.
And then on my mom's side, it's Swedish. So sweet. Only my grandpa was British, but my grandma's Swedish, and she's a very sort of like Viking type woman. And she gave birth in a taxi on the way and for her second child. And she was like, oh, giving birth is like taking a big poo or something, something very vulgar and a bit like, but she was kind of like that. And I remember being so mad at her after I gave birth because I was like, that was nothing like, that was not a good description. Like it was a lot harder than that.
Yes.
So I don't feel like I was very well informed. Like everyone seemed to think it was just like la di da. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. And that's fun to know that, yeah. So I also have ancestry in Swedish and in Sweden and Finland. That's my maternal grandmother was full Swedish. And so it's fun to know that our ancestors lived on some of the same lands, it sounds like.
Yes. And you actually kind of look quite a lot like my cousin, one of my cousins. Yeah. Even though we're very mixed, and I guess so are you along the line. But yeah, and I
Yeah.
used to go there every summer and stuff. But now, since my grandparents died, I don't really go. I have a lot of cousins there, but I don't know. I'm not that I don't know. I just sort of like, it's
Hmm.
very far. I'm very far. So I need to choose my
Yes.
destinations, and it's kind of, yeah, a bit
Uh-huh.
gone. When I do hear it, I heard a Swedish person come by the other day and I'm like, oh. So it's there
Yeah,
somewhere.
for sure. So then so you grow up in this family, you just have one sister, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then how do you get to where you are now? Like, what did you do in your
Yeah.
teens and 20s? Is that when you started traveling more or?
So we already traveled a lot as a family. Like we lived in Switzerland, but my
Hmm.
parents loved traveling. So every Christmas or whenever we could, we even took time off school sometimes, we would go really far, like Thailand, Mexico, and even such cool places that I was so small, I don't even really remember much. And I'm like, damn, I went to Mexico and I can't remember. But yeah, so a lot of traveling. And then when I turned 13, by then my dad had changed his job to the UN and he got posted to West Africa. So I spent my teenage years in West Africa. So I went from Switzerland to West Africa. That's like a pretty brutal transition. There's not much more opposite, basically.
Yeah.
So it was very hard in the beginning, but then it became so amazing because life is just so much more, I don't know, just warm and fluid and free, and the ocean and taking,
Hmm.
yeah, so a very free teenagehood in West Africa where I really blossomed and was very
Hmm.
free. And then when I finished school, I had to go back to Europe because I was in an American school, but I didn't want to go to America. So I went back to Europe, and that was very hard for me to go back to like cold winters and just like the structure and like what you wear matters. Like in Africa, you can just like, no one cares about a lot of stuff. It's like people wear the weirdest stuff and it's like nobody, yeah.
Bats and I. Yeah. And so
Yeah,
is
so I
it
had
sort
to
of
go
like what
back to Switzerland. I studied sort of communications and art, and then I was very interested in art. So I went to London and studied more art and loved it and had a lot of fun. But I always had Africa in my heart, and it was always a bit broken from that. But I didn't want to be really an artist, so then I found an art therapy school that I did for 3 years again in Switzerland. And I think that's where I learned how to do journey work in a way, because that art
Mhm.
school was many arts. So we would flow from like, dance to poetry to a painting to whatever. So we would bring people on these journeys with a beginning and an end and a kind of, at the end, you sort of, discuss it or. So I was just reflecting back, like, how did I get doing what I'm doing now? It's like, oh yeah, that was
Mhm.
there already in a way. This
Mhm.
transformation, like
Ye-
transforming people.
And guiding them on that transformation. So I hear you talking a little bit about what sounds like maybe what one might describe as like a spiritual awakening experience, or when did that happen for you?
Um, so I mean, I always had this dual thing. So I'm a Pisces and I'm quite a lot of Pisces. So I often have this dual, like, should I party till I drop dead or should I become a guru? Like. So during my life, there is this oscillation between partying quite hard and really pushing the limits to doing a lot of yoga and like, so there was a little bit of this back and forth, but yeah, the art therapy was a time where my life changed a lot and I did clean up a lot of things and ways of, and even the decision of doing art therapy, because I was like, should I do yoga or what should I do? And I went to go see this woman who read my energy and she was like, oh my God, you're so ungrounded. Like, you're up here, you didn't even want to come on this earth. I think art therapy will be such a way for you to bring into the earth all this psychic material. Like, yes. So then I did that and it was good.
Hmm.
And then I got a boyfriend who was like, oh, I got a job in Bangkok. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes, my ticket out. Because I was like, I want to leave Europe and Switzerland, but I didn't know how. I was like, how do you leave? Like, do you just leave or do you get a job first and leave? And I didn't know. So this was like, yes, let's go. So we lived there for a year in Bangkok and I started doing Reiki training there and then more yoga. We moved to Myanmar for another year and I went deep into the yoga. And then I started realizing, okay, this guy is going on another journey, but I'm not leaving Asia. Like, this is just the beginning. So then I started on my own to just travel through Asia and go back to the yoga school and volunteer and find jobs and yeah, hop around until I then
Hmm.
met my husband who was on holiday. So he's South African.
Hmm.
Sorry if I jump a lot, but Asia
Yeah.
was to me coming home because it felt like Africa in that warm third world. I think I thrive in the third world way. So it was really good for me. And then I met my South African husband, left to South Africa. He was just a boyfriend, though. I didn't really know, but I thought, oh, I'll go. I've never been to South Africa. I'll go. And then it was 2020 and I totally got stuck there, but it was good because I couldn't have stayed. Otherwise, the visa runs out. But there they kept extending, extending, and I was like, cool. And by then we had a baby, and then I stayed, and then now I'm in Africa, and I'm like, Africa came back. Like I have
Yeah.
an African baby. Like what? This is so weird. So it's like a
Amazing.
weird loop
Yes, like you knew
in my
somehow.
brain.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, I love how when you first got on the call too, you were describing the time. the concept of time. And I love this too because, yeah, I've traveled other places in the world as well where, yeah, 7 a.m. doesn't really mean 7 a.m. on the dot. It really means like a half an hour or an hour, maybe later than that or whatever. And it is just like a different sort of flow of life when time is treated
Absolutely.
more fluid like that. And so,
Just getting stuff done here. It's like so slow. If I get two things done in a day, it's good. Or I don't know, just like we're quite isolated. So getting spare parts for the car or just any kind of anything, just very slow.
yeah, not this like fast, make it happen so fast culture.
No,
Yeah.
like, oh, there's no electricity. Oh, oh, the wall's leaking again. I don't know. It's like everything's always breaking and it's very, but yeah, it feels very warm and fun, but it can be very tiring too. This sort of like sometimes I'm like, I just want to be in a country where things work and people pick up the phone when you call them and like whatever.
Yes, yes, of course. Always a shadow side to everything, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I'm curious, did you grow up in a like did your mom talk about your fertility cycle and things like that? Did you have an awareness of your own fertility? And
I
yeah.
mean, my mom would answer any question I would ask to the point where you'd wish you hadn't, it was just very like blunt and I'd be like, never mind, never mind. Okay, I get it, I get it, I get it. But it wasn't really, I don't know. And I remember when I started having boyfriends, she was like, you are using condoms, right? Like, haha. And I was like, yeah, yeah. But yeah, actually, my first sort of pregnancy or experience with that is at 16, I got pregnant,
Hmm.
not on purpose. But I remember because I was tracking my cycle in my little book.
Hmm.
And I remember being like, uh-oh, late, late, very late. Must tell my mom, I guess. So I did, and she was like, oh God, okay, we'll go to this place. And they checked, and they were like, yep. And I was still in Africa at that point, and it was illegal there to have an abortion. But the lady said, we do them. So, but I'm going to go on holiday now for 10 days. So you have 10 days to like think about this. And then when I get back, so I had 10 days to like sit with this and tell my dad, who was obviously furious. And it was like, then I couldn't see that boyfriend anymore. And it was just like very like, oh gosh. And so I just sat with this. And then my mom, she was like, well, it's really your decision. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am going to tell you that having a baby is a lot of work. And I think I heard it was like I knew that it was really expected of me to not have this, like it would be really very sort of like out of the plan, you know, like like my dad was quite sort of like, okay, you're gonna go to school and then then university and da, da, da. It's like we don't have this is not really what our daughters do, It was not so welcomed. But yeah, I had the choice to do what I want, but I think I was like, okay, no, probably this is not. But I do remember feeling bad. And then I remember one night lying down and like it was kind of like a vision of like an angel or something. I don't really know. And it was like they were telling me that they understood. They were like, it's okay, or what, like I got the permission in a way. And then I think I just kind of like erased it from my brain and just continued completely the behavior with an extra dose of like, oh God, I really have to try not to get pregnant because it was a terrible. And then I think I had this weird thing in my head of like, I'm going to be punished for this. Like,
Hmm.
like I won't be able to have a baby or when I want to, so there was always this a little bit of guilt. And I always pushed it very far away. But if I did therapy, bloop, there it would come again, So it was quite a big event as much as I pushed it away. And then the weird thing is the guy that I was with, he was like this very angelic, curly haired man, which is so weird because my husband is also a curly haired man now. And he died some years later.
Hmm.
And it was such a weird experience of him then dying and me contacting his mom, and that connection I then had with the mom, and I went to go visit her. She was also in Asia. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know, just like so many weird. But anyway, that part,
Yeah.
that was that. Like, yeah.
And then had he had any other kids?
No, he was no, so he was still young, and I
Yeah.
saw him once or twice, but then I didn't hear from him for years. And then he called me like a few days before he died, and he wanted to see me, and I was like, I'm busy. Like, it was so random. And then a
Hmm.
month later, my sister said, "Hey, I heard Olivier died." I was like, "What? Are you sure?" She was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "No, I have to be sure. This is not funny." And found the mom
Hmm.
on internet. And she was like, "Yeah, we were looking for you too. He really loved
Hmm.
you. And we don't know really what happened. And we think he fell off something or he got hit by a car, but we don't think he suicided." Then I checked my diary and I was like, "But he called me like
Yeah.
days. So he either knew or
Wow.
I don't know." It was so weird. And I was so sad. Like, I didn't think, because I didn't think about him for so long. But I really was really sad. And then I think about him often. Like, I feel him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that part of my family is on the other side. And they visit me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you I would
Yeah.
need the tissue.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I
The
got them
Pisces,
too.
we are very emotional.
Yes, but it's,
Yeah.
yeah, death can be so hard. And when we like feel them from the other side, it can be that, yeah, bittersweet, that be like the yearning, but also I find comfort in feeling their presence, you know?
Absolutely. No, I felt him when I'm like really stressed, or especially with relationships, like in the past when I'd be like crying on my balcony because I just got dumped or whatever. And then his thing would come there or something. So weird,
Yeah. Yeah.
but very nice.
Yes.
It
Sweet.
just caught me off guard how sad I was. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Of someone that I thought was, yeah, we put things
Yeah.
away, but then,
Yes. Well, and I imagine you might think of that, spark of life that was conceived between the two of you and
yeah, and then you're
imagine.
like, or if we had kept it, then maybe, I don't know. It's like there's these
Yeah.
timelines where you're like, if I had done,
Yes.
no, we don't know that
Y-
part.
Yeah, there's like so many different possibilities in life, and we can only choose one path at a time. We can't be on like,
Yeah,
five different paths at the same time.
no, but sometimes it's a small decision, and sometimes it's like, right, I'm gonna go this way or this way. It's like
Yeah.
really different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, how old were you when you met your now husband?
So I was, I think, 39 or 38 or something. So I had my
Yeah.
baby very late or
Yeah.
late. Yeah. So
Yes.
I always loved babies. Even when I was smaller, there's pictures of me holding babies, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I worked with babies for a long time. I don't know if you guys know Gymboree. Do you guys have Gymboree in?
Gymboree. We have there's a company called Gymboree. It's like
Yeah, where
clothing though. Yeah.
Oh no, what they do, like it's like for kids and mommy baby thing, and they have like all the ramps and art class, and it's a bit corny, but it's well done, and it's like psychology levels. And anyway, I worked there for years, and I really wanted a baby. I really wanted to meet my husband. Like, that was my mission. And as the 30s started getting closer, I was like panicking, like, "Oh, I need to, I'm going to be too old. It's going to be too late," and I was obsessive. And then when I started doing yoga very seriously, it totally fell away. It was like, this is so silly. Like, it will come if it comes. And you know what? If it doesn't mean, I felt like if I don't, my life won't mean anything, or I'll have like messed up my life or something, or that kind of belief.
Mm.
So that the pressure just left. And then yeah, well, that guy that I moved to, um, Asia with, I did want children with, or I was quite ready to commit, but he was younger and not ready. And then in the end, I was like, oh, whatever. So I left. And then he ended up having a child at the same time as me. But his life is so different, the style. It's like so corporate. And I'm like so glad I didn't go down that route. That was a good call.
Hmm.
Um, but I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so that was sort of a maybe. And then after that, I didn't really meet anyone for so long that I thought I would even, yeah. And then I remember in my late 30s, I was on a motorcycle trip through India with these two guys. I don't know what else. I was just being wild and crazy. And I was like, I could have a baby with anyone. And like, I don't need a guy. I just need to get pregnant. Like, why not? But that didn't happen. But yeah, I was like, I was ready to do whatever, like as long as I maybe just had a baby. And then the last boyfriend I had didn't want kids at all, and he had even had a whatever it's called when you
Yeah,
are sterile.
vasectomy. Yeah.
And he really like convinced me of how cool it was to not have kids. Like, hello, you don't owe anything to anyone. You're free. You don't have to think about anyone forever. Like, isn't this great? And I was like, yeah, actually, that's so true. Like, why would you want to? So I sort of went down that road. And then he turned out to be a total narcissist. Like, my whole life just went crazy. And he showed me one thing, but he was another. And I was completely crushed. And I had to leave everything. And I was just like at a very low. And that's when I met my now husband on a beach. People were like, just have a fling. I was in Bali, where I had built up this whole life with this guy, having the dream life, which turned into a nightmare. And then I was like, I need to leave everything, even though I love Bali so much. And I met this South African guy. And then he was like, oh, come to South Africa. And I was like, cool, another ticket out. You see, I'm always like jumping on a random train with some random guy just to get out. I was like, perfect. This is great. Let's go to South Africa. Let's get out of here. I rented my house, and then I got stuck in COVID with him, and we got along so well. It was such a healing time because we couldn't go anywhere. So we
Mm.
were like in his little, and he had a thatched roof house in like this little neighborhood with a cute little dog. And he grew a lot of weed. So we like smoked a lot of weed. And I was just like in this weed haze of like doing art and eating. And we'd go to the beach a bit. And it was really like a healing bubble to me with this guy far away. And I could
Yeah.
stay. It was COVID, and it was such a weird time too. Like it was a bit stressful because all the flights, like I thought, oh, maybe the world is ending and I'll never see my family again. Like maybe we didn't know what was going to happen. So it was such a weird time. And then I remember telling Jason, I was like, but would you want to like maybe have a baby? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. He was just so like, sure, why not? Like cool, 39. Okay. But then it took a while.
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, if you want to have a baby, just have a baby. But it like took quite so long actually. It took like 8 months, I think. So maybe I was
Uh-huh.
38. I don't know. I think I had him at 39.
Yeah, that's such a good concept you bring up too, because so many women feel the same way where they think, oh, well, we spend so much of our lives preventing pregnancy.
Yes.
And then we think, oh, that means I can just get pregnant just so instantly. And the first time I try, it's going to happen. And for many
Yeah.
women, like you're sharing your story, that it didn't happen for 8 months when you thought, probably each month or, yeah.
Yeah. And we were like,
Hmm.
we're not going to force it. Like, we're not going to start doing IVF, like whatever. If a baby comes, it comes. If it doesn't, let's be super relaxed. But yeah, there is always this like, oh, the period again. And after all, he was like, but are you like maybe infertile? And I was kind of like, well, what about maybe you're infertile? Like, why me? But we didn't even go down that road, but it just came up, and I was a bit like, oh yeah, like maybe is something wrong? Like,
Hmm.
and then I remember going to a retreat, and one girl announced that she was pregnant, and I remember feeling really like, oh, why not me? Like, a little bit jealous.
Yeah, yeah. I had some similar, yeah, it took me and my husband a few months too, where I wasn't expecting that either. I just, and had friends that had gotten pregnant accidentally. And, it's like you think it's just going to happen. And sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then finally it did.
Yes.
Because I was often doing little tests. And then finally it was yes. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Just told everybody I could think of, even the postman or whatever. Right away, I was like, I'm not waiting any time. Like, this is great. I was very excited and scared. Yeah, I think every time I had my period, I was half bummed and half relieved. Like, okay, actually, yeah. Because then when it is, you're like, oh God, now I need to like do something about it. Like, shit, we're gonna have a baby. What are we gonna do? We need to like prepare stuff. Like what? I don't know. I have to start researching now. Because I'd worked a lot with babies, but I had no concept or any information on birthing or midwives, or even I didn't
Hmm.
have many friends who were mothers. And the
Hmm.
ones that I did back in the day, I actually feel so sorry of how I behaved because I don't think I.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were just talking about how, like, now looking back at relationships with women who had kids earlier, that you were saying you were feeling kind of bad about how you were with them, probably because you can't understand what it's like to
Oh,
be a mom until we are moms. Yeah.
no, no. Or we're not told enough either, maybe, or I don't know, but
Well, and I mean, like, I was a nanny. I babysat so much. I like lived with families. I took care of other people's kids, but it's a totally different thing when it's your own kid and it's 24/7 and it's just, it is a completely different experience.
no,
That,
and me too. I work with mommies and babies, but I think I didn't hit home that they probably hadn't slept for 3 months or whatever. It's like I didn't even, I don't know, just didn't know.
yeah. And we can't know what we don't know until we know it. And I mean, it's sort of like lots of things. Like I've heard people talk about, you can watch someone, you can read about maybe taking psychedelic mushrooms, you can watch someone take psychedelic mushrooms, but actually to like take them yourself, those are like very different experiences, right?
True.
And as much as we can learn about being a mom, being around other people, mothering, even mothering other people's children, it's a different experience to mothering your own.
True.
Hmm.
And yeah, and words are not, yeah, because people are like, oh, when you'll have a baby, it'll change your life. And you're like, yeah, but it means like change your life. Like really, really not, you cannot undo, it's like never the same again. So
Yes,
you realize
yes.
what they mean, or oh, it'll be, yeah, the birth. They were like, well, it'll probably be the hardest thing you've ever done, or I don't know. And it's like, I didn't quite, I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, but something as a concept to experience it's different for sure. And we we can't fully understand until you're in it. And yes, it completely, motherhood transforms your life in ways that you can't even anticipate or expect sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even talking about it doesn't do it justice because it's just so
Oh,
big. And the culture around, like, your body bouncing back. And it's like, that's not even possible. Like, we only go forward and your body is forever changed. And your brain is forever changed, your heart, your whole being. You can't go back. You can only move forward.
and it is so miraculous and beautiful and also so difficult. Like I really am very grumpy a lot of the time about the experience. I find it really hard. Like, and I don't, yeah. But it is when I again zoom out of my daily rumble grumble, it is like so amazing and it's so cool to have your life be changed. Like, why not? It's just a bit hard when you have to let go of things that you're like, oh, anyway. It's fine.
Yes. Yeah, but it is life, and being a mom is such a beautiful gift and an incredible experience in so many ways. And of course, also challenging in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you find out you're pregnant, and I love you just right away are telling all the people.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you said you weren't really familiar with birth, like you were familiar with taking care of babies, but you hadn't, you'd never witnessed another woman give birth? Had you even like
I
watched birth videos or anything like that, or no? Yeah.
no clue. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was like, but who am I calling now? Like, where do I go? Like, so I was like, I guess gynecologist or something, maybe. Like, so I found a place and then it was, oh, baby, whatever, hospital, cool. Booked an appointment for after Christmas. So I was spending Christmas with Jason's family, who were his brother and sister were so excited because they don't have kids, any of them. So this was like the ever wanted grandchild of their past mom who had so wanted a, you know. So then I started feeling the pressure. I was like, okay, but wait, like I don't know yet. Like I'll try, I'll do my best, but you know, I don't know if I can get this to term or if it's coming out normal. I don't know, just not too much pressure. And so I was very excited for this appointment of like doing a scan and then telling me something, you know. So we went there and I had to wait over the whole time of Christmas. The whole time I was like, maybe it's twins or, you know, I didn't know, pulling cards, trying to figure it out with my pendulum. I was sure it was twins. So then my pendulum, I was like, okay, I'm not very good at pendulum. And then we got there and then they wouldn't let my husband in the front door even at the bottom because it was COVID. They were like, no, no, no husbands, like only the person with the appointment. And my whole world just
Mm.
like crumbled. I was like in tears. I was like, but you know, and I had to have a mask. It was just like so horrible. So then he stayed in the parking lot and I went up to this office. And oh yeah, what I did start reading or knowing is that South Africa is one of the highest C-section rates in the world or something crazy. And as I was sitting there waiting, the secretary on the phone was like, blah, 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 C-section, blah, 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 C-section, blah, 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 C-section, you know? And I was just like, okay. And then I went in to see this lady and she did the scan and it wasn't twins. And I mean, it was still quite small. I don't remember, but she couldn't really say much apart from, okay, you're pregnant and looking good for now. But she's like, you'll have to come back super regularly. Like, we're going to do scans all the time because so much can go wrong. You know, the hands can be webbed and this and this and this. And you're going to have this test and that test. And then
Whoa.
she was, oh, and so where I was like, oh yeah, I lived in Bali. And she was like, Bali? Weren't you scared of being kidnapped? You know? And I was just like, no, I had the most beautiful life. Now I'm in South Africa. I'm a bit scared of getting kidnapped. Thank you. It's like everywhere is so dangerous, you know. It's like this lady, I'm not connecting with her at all. And this place at all. Like my husband's not even here. Like this is horrible. So I left there thinking, well, I did all the blood tests, which was great because I needed those for later. But I was like, no, not my vibe. Go away. So then I started researching midwives, and there were some, and there was one that was highly recommended who lived on my road. And I could not get a hold of her. Like she never picked up her phone. And I don't know, I just couldn't get a hold of her. And then months or I don't know how long later, I saw her on the beach. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's her. And I was like, Ruth, I need you, like baby, you know. And she was so like, she looks like a Native American woman, although she's not. She's South African, what they call coloreds. It's like so politically incorrect, but they literally call them colored. So you have like the whites, the coloreds who are, I think, like mixed race or something, and then the blacks. So she was colored, but she looks, yeah, she looks like a Native American, which I love. And she was on the beach, and she was like, "Yeah, like I'm not taking any more people. We can take. When are you due? Like, oh, August. Okay, yeah, we'll take you as our last client. Like we're closing this thing, but yes, okay. And sorry, I'm so busy. Like I'm not a phone." I don't know, I don't answer that phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So then I had a meeting and it was her and another girl. They were two and it was in a little house. And I went in with my husband and there were no masks and I sat on the bed and they were so sweet. And I was like, yes, these are my people. You know, they were like, no scan. They'll just do the Doppler thing and measure my belly and pee and feel it. And cool. Yeah. And then I started reading a lot about like birth and not really free birth, but just birthing at home. Yeah, so that was our mission, was to birth at home because we weren't going to go to these hospitals where the husband is not allowed in, like no ways. So
Mhm.
that's when the home birth idea came, and I started feeling a bit of, my dad being like, "Oh, I don't know, first child, like, are you sure that's a good idea?" And throughout that journey, a lot of people being like, "Are you crazy?" basically, and very sort of fear.
Mhm.
But I was reading all these books and I
Yeah.
had these women on my side, and I
Did you?
became like almost
Yeah.
a, because there were a lot of pregnant women around me suddenly. Oh, yeah, because I did a yoga prenatal training, which happened to be happening then. So then I became a prenatal yoga teacher and I started a group. So we were like this whole group of women.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful and all due around the same time. And we all stayed friends after. It was so nice.
Wow. How
But I,
wonderful. Can I ask you, did you find it hard to like deflect or ignore people's fear that were coming to you when you were planning this home birth and people were like, ah, was that easy for you to do or?
um, yeah, it somehow actually kind of was. Like, I don't know why. I just felt sort of so sure. I was almost a bit worried of how unworried I was. I was like, no, I'm doing this. These ladies do this all the time. Some people do this all the time. And you're just part because this time was so a division time. Yeah. There was like the masks
Mm,
and the no masks, the vaxes and the no vaxes, and the paranoids and the no paranoids. And then it was the birth at home and the no birth and oh no, isn't and I was just like, they're part of those people, which
yeah.
is dividing. I get it. But what
Hmm.
I had a hard time with was with seeing other women who wanted to birth normally, but were told like, oh, your baby's, I was witnessing this from even my neighbor across, and she was telling me this, and I like it was too late for me to try to like convert her. I gave her my books, but she was like, no, but the doctor said, and I was just like, whatever, I'm not here to like, I'm not gonna tell
Yeah,
people what
women
to.
make their choices. Yeah. Hmm.
But I found those choices disturbing, and I found it disturbing to witness these things. It annoyed me. Like I was very like, And same with the nappies. Like even before I had my son, I was already like, right, cloth nappies, like forever. And then someone said, no, you don't even need nappies. You can do this like potty training thing, the communicate.
Elimination communication. Yeah, I like to call it intuitive toileting because that feels more like what you really do. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really do it properly, but we did it really well. But I didn't really do a communication. I just kind of put him on the potty and then that was it. Like,
Yeah. And he would go. Yeah.
yeah, so I suddenly became this total like alternative mom thing even before he was born, sort of. But
Yeah.
yeah, then a bit before he was born, that same girl at that same retreat who had said she was pregnant and I was jealous was due not she was due 2 months before me. So I fell pregnant very quickly after, and she had the same midwives as
Midwife.
me. And her baby died at birth. Like I got that message where it was like, so sorry to tell everybody. And then I wobbled a bit. I was like, what? Wait, the baby can die? Like I didn't quite like I didn't know that was an op. What do you mean it died? Like, did you see it coming? Or like I really had to question my midwives. Like I was like, what happened? Like, why did the baby die? Like, how is my baby not gonna die? Like, how do we? And they were like, no, babies die. Like sometimes even in hospital with all the stuff, they will watch a baby die. Like, this is a reality. So that kind of made me be a little bit like, okay, oh shit, like, oh, okay, yeah, this can happen anywhere actually. So let me also relax again with life. We can dive.
Right. Can happen at any time to anyone, right? Not just to babies. Like tomorrow's guaranteed to nobody, but yeah, it came into your center
Yeah,
there. But as
yeah.
something to be acknowledged, but it's something that I encourage all women who are pregnant to acknowledge the possibility that,
And one girl in my group also miscarried at like 20 weeks, which also like shook us all. So yeah, I feel like you're just on this train and it's like some women get ejected on the way. You know, it's like who's gonna get to the finish line and actually hold their baby? Like it's a little bit sad, like, or just it's real, it's life. Yeah, some people make it to 80 and some people don't. Like whatever. It's just life
Mhm.
and the journey that you need to experience.
Yeah, wow. So you were several months pregnant when this woman gave birth and her baby died.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So then where did you go from there, or how did you prepare for your birth, and where were you planning to birth? In your home or
So
yeah.
we had this roof and the upstairs in the thatch area, it was a wooden floor, and I had like all my singing bowls there, and it was like it's gonna be so perfect. Like Jason, you can like dong the bowl, and it's just yeah, it was cute though. The setup was super cute, very like yeah, I don't know, hippie or whatever, like the thatch. I don't know. Yeah, and I went to a retreat while I was pregnant. I had that yoga prenatal thing, and I did 3 sessions of hypnotherapy, like talk to the baby soul or whatever. So I really took care, and I was reading all the books, and like I was really taking care of myself. I started eating a lot of meat, even though Jason's vegan and I was vegetarian, but there I was like, I need a steak. Maybe 2 steaks. Yeah, or I would walk the
Yeah.
car for a while and I would walk all the way to the village just to have a fish in the restaurant. Like, and I didn't have much money, but I was like, I will spend my last dime eating a fish right now. So I listened to
Yes.
that, even though I had moments too. I was like, oh, maybe, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna do what my body's telling me. I also bled twice, which was a bit scary. And by the end, so that's when I had another scan, the last scan, because they said, oh, it should be fine, but just check maybe the placenta, because now we're near the birth. So, and that's when they said, do you want to know if it's a girl or a boy? And we were like, oh, we didn't want to know, but now that you mention it, maybe just tell us. It's a boy. Oh, I thought it was going to be a girl for sure the whole time. So right near the end, it was like, oh no, it's a boy. Oh, okay, crazy. I'm from a family of girls, and now I'm having a boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a massage too, which I never have a few, I think, days before. So yeah, I really tried to take care of myself and prepare my birth team. Was supposed to be my
Mhm.
husband and his sister lived with us at the time. And I remember a random friend being like, "Oh, you're birthing at home. Can I come to the birth?" And I was a bit like, no. Well, it's not a movie that you just go to. It's like we're preparing the team. Yeah, no, sorry. Like, what? I think she didn't mean it in a bad way, but I was just a bit like, no, this is not a show you come to. So I wanted just them, and they were also arguing a bit. I remember there was tension with that. Like my husband and his sister would like they argue very strongly and scream at each other and stuff. And that was a concern, where I was like, guys, you're my birth team. I'm about to give birth and I can't have you guys like this. Like you need to really sort your shit out right now. Please, this is scaring me. A child is coming in this family. You cannot be screaming like this. So yeah, that I had to tell some people like, you know,
Huh.
guys, yeah.
Were they responsive to your?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
very. They were like, oh
Hmm.
no, Julia is up. Oh no, like we have to really, yeah, like, oh no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling people out on their stuff a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah. Good. I'm glad that you were, yeah, strong to be able to do that. Not everyone has the
Yeah,
capacity for that.
true. I think a lot of weird things happen at those times too, though, with families, and you need to, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Synchronicities and things bubble up that need to be looked at and
yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then,
So,
yeah, then we got married because I was trying to get married this whole time and the paperwork was taking forever. And I'm not a huge get married thing, but it's like I was in a foreign country and it just, if you're married, it's just easier. Or so I thought until we started the paperwork. And I was like, why are we doing this? But finally got married. I was really pregnant. And then after the wedding, I got really sick. I think I got COVID. I was like bedridden. And then it was the 37-week visit, but we were feeling better and they came. And then it was the waiting game because I made it to 37 weeks. If it was before, then they wouldn't take me for a home birth. So I made it to the 37. I was getting better because, oh yeah, while I was so sick, I was like, I can't give birth right now. Are you kidding me? I can't walk up the stairs. Like, this is worrying. But anyway, somehow I got better. Somehow we finished all our, yeah, Jason started redoing the whole house. So we were living like upstairs. And then I was sleeping on the couch because I was snoring so much because of my belly. And I don't know, there was a lot of like uncomfortable parts. And my midwife also said that people often redo the nest like at the last minute and sometimes take on
yeah.
these projects. And it's like really maybe not the right time. We made it, we finished the house, we were ready, we got better, we got stronger, and then I waited and I stopped teaching too because I thought, oh, I'll teach till but then the brain fog just started getting really, and I was like, okay, note to self, after 35 weeks, I think, yeah, just rest and don't try to be teaching a class to people.
Yes, that's such a good point. So many women, yeah, think that you can just go till you're giving birth and your mind isn't transforming already, but it is that like labor land.
Yeah, and that was just
Yeah.
1 class a week. Like some people still do work, and here the women
Hmm.
are, they work like in the fields and then give birth and go right back. I don't know. It's like I was really in another, yes, feeling quite fragile.
Dimension. Hmm.
So then, yeah, the time was coming. Like I could kind of feel a lot of cramping and stuff. And then I think I lost my mucus plug or something. And I was like, okay, this is, and Jason got a bit like, okay, maybe we have to do the pool. Or I could see he got a bit white in the face and told Riva, like, I think maybe, and then nothing happened for days, dude. I had like this really long, like, maybe having a cramp, not really took so long, but it was fine. I was like, I can feel it's not ready, but it's very close, but not. And then he relaxed because it was like, okay, it's not happening. So everyone chilled. And then we went to go buy a bed even for upstairs because we didn't have a bed. And they were like, oh, when's the baby due? And I was like, I think I'm kind of already a bit in labor. And the guy was like, oh, I was like, no, not in a bad way, but like, yeah, we need to get the bed now. And then one night it really started. Yeah, and I was upstairs kind of laboring on my own and counting. I can't even remember what it was, but I was like counting the seconds between and kind of falling asleep. And yeah, it was very bearable. And then in the morning again, fine, normal day. But it wasn't that normal because we took a really long nap in the afternoon and then we had a really big dinner. We just did a weird, and I made a huge thing of lentils. It's like we were getting ready without knowing. And then we woke up and I think it was late and we started talking in the bed. And then I kind of couldn't hear what Jason was saying anymore. I was like, wait, you can't talk to me right now. Like, I need my music and I'm just going to chill. And it was like the night before, but it was like, okay, I'm getting cramps. And I was like, I think you need to like go, do the pool. And you just set everything up and I'm in the bed chilling. But I think, yeah, because of last night. I think tonight maybe, and then the cramps started getting more, and we called the midwife because I didn't want to do a false alarm, because already the one before I had said, I think, but I don't know, I don't want to wake you up, but there I was like, okay, I just want to let you know we're fine, but probably soon, and she was like, well, if you can talk on the phone, you're probably fine still. And I was like, what do you mean that I can talk on the phone? Like, am I not going to be able to talk on the phone? What's going on? Yeah, so I was still fine. And then I think after that phone call, because the time gets really weird. So
Yeah.
it was a night labor. So this started around 9 or 10 or 11, I think. And then the night it started, I was like, Jason, no, no, you call them and you talk on the phone now. You tell them that I can't talk on the phone. And he was like, I mean, it's probably like you can probably come tomorrow morning around 9. Or I was like, no, they need to come now. Like they need to come soon, not at 9 tomorrow. And so they were like, okay, we'll come soon. And then I remember she came, I don't know at what time in the night. And then I just started crying. I was so happy to see her. I was like, oh, I'm so happy that you're here. Like, I'm in so much pain. Like, and she was like, you're doing fine. You sound amazing. Like, just do those noises, like, keep going. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, you have all the tools within you. I was like, this is so unhelpful. Like, the tools within me. Yeah, I only found out later they were totally hands-off midwives, which was amazing. I loved it. But yeah, it was really like, she's like, I was like, can you check me? Can you tell me how many centimeters? Just so I know, like, how am I doing, And she was like, okay, you're 6. It's all downhill from now. And I was like, you mean uphill? And she's like, do you want me to check if the baby's okay? And I was like, no, like I couldn't have any more people around. I was like, I can't, there's nothing we can do about it now. I'm in so much, I'm dying. Like, never mind the baby. Let's just like me focus on me right now. So she went back downstairs, and then the other one came much later, and I just was upstairs by myself, and I did not know what to do with myself. Like I just was on the bed, on the loo, in the pool, out of the pool, just in so much pain. And then I told her, like, I'm never doing this again. And she was like, you sound right on track. Like, good. And yeah, and then I think my water burst and they were downstairs. So it's a thatch, they can totally hear. I was like, my water broke. And they didn't answer. I was like, hello, I think my water broke. They were like, yeah, we heard you. And I'm like, okay, just checking that you're listening. And I don't know, Jason later told me that, yeah, they were like disinfecting all their tools and had a soup thing going. But yeah, I was obviously totally unaware of this. I was in my own world, and he was there giving me water or juice or towels. There was a lot of towel changing because there was a lot of like blood and water, and yeah, but I was fine. Yeah, another story, because I had a lot of friends giving birth near my time, and one of them I'd had on the phone, she gave birth first, and I was like, oh, tell me all about it. And she was like, I'll tell you after you've given birth, okay? And I was like, why? And it's like, I just suddenly realized, like, this is really, really hardcore. Like, so yeah, it was, I know I read about non-painful births and whatever, but for me, I think I'm not very good with pain. And I really thought we'd be playing singing bowls, and I'm a breathwork teacher, and I would breathe deep, and how painful can it be? Like, it can't be that bad. Like, but it was really, really, for me, really not fun, like really bad. And then I started pushing, and I was trying kind of not to push. It was like I didn't I don't know, it was so strong that I was trying to hold it back. And I remember then I was like, please tell Caitlin to come up. So she came up, and I'm like, I'm trying to not push. It's so weird. She was like, yeah, I know it's strong, but just try to like let your body, if it wants to, because I felt like all my insides are falling out. If I push too hard, like something bad's happening now. It's too much. So then I just tried to just, go with it and roar. I remember roaring, and Jason being like, that was a good one or whatever. But they were not commenting much. Like they were really just leaving me, like getting quite dark. And then I sort of felt a moving, something moved down, and I was like, something weird, just yeah. And then I felt between my legs, and I was like, oh my God, I feel the hair. I could feel hair. I was like, oh my God, he's right there. So I like jumped out of the pool on all fours, and I was like, right, the next push, he's coming out. Like, I'm done with this. And then there was nothing, like no, but before that, just as I was pushing, there would be these moments of silence, and we heard like an owl. I don't know, like time really slows. It was like boop, boop, and I remember watching my people, like the maid, I keep want to say my maid, my what? The midwife, just sitting like this on the floor, like not even looking at me. And in my head, I was like, what a weird job, man. She just like sits and watches people in the worst pain of their life. Like, wow, what a woman. Like, this is crazy. But anyway, so on all fours, waiting for that push. And when it finally came, I just pushed out his head in one go. It burned, but not for long. It was like, burn, come out. And then she was like, okay, his shoulders, let me just help. So she helped a bit with the shoulder. And then he like flopped out onto the floor. And I remember just looking at him and then looking at my husband who was right there. And we almost like cried a bit, or we were just like, oh. And then I was like, can I pick him up? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, it's my baby. I can pick it up. And then he started crying right away, and he was so cute. And I was like, oh my God, I just made a baby. Like, and then laid on the bed, and he was just on me. And then they both came up, and it was such a good, easy birth by the books. But for me, it was like, what the hell was this? This crazy. Like, come on, guys. Did no one tell me about this properly? Like, this was, no, I'm not doing this again. And then I didn't know about lotus birth and all this stuff, but they had the bowl, we kept the placenta, and
And
then it
and can you describe was the birth of your placenta easy or was that hard or
said, okay, now you're gonna start feeling, because I was like, cool, I'm done. And they were like, no, so you're gonna feel contractions again and you're gonna give birth to the placenta. And I was like, oh no. And then I felt the cramps again. I'm like, oh man, like, are you for real? Like, when does this end? But it wasn't as bad and it came out quite easily. So it was fine. And then it was in a bowl next to us, which I found quite funny. And it was sort of like, okay, this is fun. Like, or, and then I said, oh, you must go tell your sister because she missed the whole thing. Like, she didn't hear anything. She slept through the whole thing. I don't know how she didn't hear me because I was screaming the whole time. So we had to go wake her up. And then she came and was like, oh, the baby, and it was just like, yeah, chilling. And then my husband took when they did cut the cord, he took the placenta and went and buried it in the garden right away. Because I had kind of maybe wanted to eat it or like have it done in pills. And I think Jason, like he's vegan, and it was like, yeah, me eating steaks and stuff throughout was like, okay, cool. But like eating the placenta was maybe, he was just like, I'm taking this thing and I'm putting it in the garden. Which later, when I did hear a bit more about the lotus birth, I'm like, well, it was right there in the garden and the trees grew from it. So yeah, it was fine. Like, it wasn't really a huge concern of mine. And I didn't really look at it either. I didn't really think about it. It was just sort of like, wow, it's big. This was big. I made all this stuff. Like, no wonder I was a bit tired. Yeah, it's big. And then, yeah, took a shower and went down to the bed. And then it was the morning. So everyone kind of packed up and my husband cleaned up. And then I was like, do skin to skin with him in the bed. And by then we were just so tired. And I think we fell asleep and had a really good night or something. We slept really well. And I was like, oh, my baby slept through the whole night. Such a good baby. And they were like, no, that usually happens after the birth. Like, don't worry, he's not going to sleep through the night. And then, yeah, then we were just in for the roller coaster of just having had a baby. So I was very sore and it was very sore. He latched right away, but was very sore, but it was fine. I got used to it and I was very sore. I think I had piles and I realized I had torn actually because I said, can you check? They were like, no, you're fine. And then 2 days later, I looked there and I was like, oh my God, there's this big tear. Like, hello, and took a photo. And they were like, I don't think they took me seriously until they came. And then they were like, oh, sorry. Yes, this is actually quite a big tear. Like, of the outer lip. They were like, sorry, I don't know how we we didn't see this. Like, it's a
Mm.
bit now actually to stitch it, or she asked and they were like, maybe, and then, or they were like, or you could have surgery. And I was like, oh, well, even stitching, I was like, and then if I have another baby, probably it'll break again. I was like, oh, well, I'll just keep it as a souvenir, like a double flap thing going on. And my husband too, he was just like, wasn't it like that before? And I was like, no, it was not. But anyway, glad you aren't that concerned about this. This is great. So yeah. And then I did the 40 days. I had read about that and I really
Mm.
stayed inside and it wasn't hard. I didn't really want to see many people and I was happy to be in the house. And I remember even walking to the letterbox once thinking that was so far and it was literally just outside the gate. But
Mhm.
I really kept my baby in that bubble.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. So many people, yeah, don't know about the 40 days and
I
or
know.
don't have the resources or the support to be able to do it. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. No, it was nice to do it. And I feel like I'm doing the same now with him by keeping him home a lot. Like instead of putting him in a preschool or even school in general, we'll see later. But for now, and he doesn't even like, because we've tried and he doesn't, I don't know. It's like, I just want to keep him in this
But
bubble close. He wants to be close. And when he's ready to go out in the world, he will be a secure little young man. Yeah, I breastfed for 4 years. I just stopped on his fourth birthday. I was a little bit over it. I was like, okay, happy birthday, four, big boy now. And he stopped so easily. It was amazing because I'd
Mhm.
been wanting to stop even when he was 2. I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But I didn't know how to stop. And I didn't really want, I don't know, it was a weird, like, yeah. So we made it to 4 years in the end. But now we stopped. But that too, I remember being on the beach and he was not even one. And these grandmas walking by and they were like, I heard them. They thought I didn't hear them, but they were like, he looks a bit big to be breastfeeding, you know. And there was a lot of comments. Like I did have to put up with not too much outright, but just a little bit of like, and here too, the Africans, they don't breastfeed for long at all. They just thought it
Mm.
was like ridiculously hilarious, or, you know, it's like, yeah. So, but yeah, and the school thing too, I get a lot of like, oh, you know, and I'm just like, I have to really, yeah, for the birth, for the breastfeeding, for the school, I have to be a little bit like, no, this is how I'm, even though sometimes I'm a bit unsure too. I'm like, oh, am I doing it wrong or, but
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do everything. And I feel
yeah,
like all we can do is, yeah, be as certain as we are in the moment and know that we can also change our minds in the future.
exactly.
And yeah, I definitely have experienced some of what you're speaking about of people around me thinking I'm breastfeeding too long or whatnot. My son stopped on his own when he was 5, like, but we made it to in his 5th year. And my daughter is now almost 6. And just in the last couple months, she's like, she used to ask for it most days, not every day, but now it seems like we're probably nearing the very end of this journey and of me I think about like, oh my gosh, I've been lactating for 9 years now and wow.
Yeah, also the patience of the mom, because it's like I want to give him that, but then I don't have always the patience. Yeah, it's like I want him at home and I don't want to put him in school, but something I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could just put him in a school, like someone else take care of him, please.
Yes, yes. Well, and of course, breastfeeding till 5 isn't for everyone, and it has to
Yeah.
be feel right, for the mom too, because it's our bodies and it's something that we're sharing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it just also makes me sad how it's very sort of uncommon, or yeah, on a TV show, a stupid thing on the airplane where it was like these doing makeup girls or whatever, and they were making over this mom who had 4 kids, and she was like, "Oh, I'm still breastfeeding them even though he's 15 months," and they were like, "Ah," you know, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's almost apologizing." And 15 months is nothing. Like, oh, wow, this is like the norm, of people feeling bad that they're breast. I don't know. I was like, wow, there's a lot of, yeah, it's just very far from nature.
Yeah, I feel sad about, yeah, when moms, we're already, being a mom is, yeah, a hard job anyway, like the hardest thing to do. And then to have that sort of criticism over a choice like breastfeeding. And yeah, at 15 months, that's like nothing. That's so young still.
Baby, it's a little baby. They don't even talk yet.
Yeah.
Even now, I think my boy is big, and then I look at his hands, and they're still like those pudgy baby. I'm like, he's still a baby.
Oh,
He's
yes.
big and he's so smart, and you think he's big, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah. I love the way you describe in motherhood and in pregnancy that there's always going to be external opinions and noise, and that as women and mothers, we have to choose the decisions that feel right to us, even if they're not always supported by everyone around us.
yeah. I feel like motherhood highlights that because I feel like I do that with my life all the time, but motherhood has highlighted that. So
Yes.
yeah, like a lot of things I do, people are like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" To get here, we like just got in a van and we were like, we don't want to be in South Africa anymore, or we want to move, but we had no direction. And it even halfway there, you were like, is this a good idea? Maybe not, but in the end, we've manifested this amazing life. And like, I hope it'll be the same with my son. He's only 4, and I will maybe change my mind, but like the way I'm choosing to bring him up is how I think is a good idea, And I guess we'll see, but it's what feels, yeah, but it's not the norm. I get that. And that's why I like podcasts like yours or others where I can sort of connect to others where I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one here. Like, and it's way
Yes.
too. It's like this web of light that you're holding. You're like this random person that I found. I'm not even sure how on Instagram because I think you showed that famous lady's cards that are painted. I forgot her name.
Autumn
She,
sky, maybe. I don't know.
you tagged it was her thing anyway. But and your podcast has become like I love it. I listen to so many in my kitchen while I'm cooking, and I'm like crying and laughing and. It's like I need that because I'm here in the middle of Mozambique on my own. And like, yeah, and I swear, we're holding this web of light, guys, through our work and through how we parent and through how we share. And yeah,
Yes, I love how you're describing this with your hands, that I too feel this like cosmic web of light and love, and through the cosmos and across the world, that we can feel into it and share into it. And
and
yes,
now calm and grounded. But before we did this call, I was so emotional. The days even, just the thought of it. And it's like, I want to be love. And mine is love heals. And it's like, but it's real and it's like but I forgot and then I remember and I want to cry it's like yeah, it's very good because we can forget very every day.
yes, yes. And you speaking about that with motherhood also made me think, like you said, it's not just in motherhood that we sometimes change or do things. Like I remember it wasn't until I was in my like mid 30s maybe, or where I felt like I was really starting to unravel and maybe like claim my own life in a way, that I was living more, doing the things and in the ways that I knew my parents like thought I should be living. And
Yeah.
I've really stepped more into claiming my own life and my own choices. And then of course that, extends to now my children, because I make a lot of the choices for them.
Yeah. And yeah, For sure. Because even like vaccinations, I haven't done any. And my sister was like, but have you done any research or like, is this, like, how are you basing this choice? And I was just like, on my intuition, you know, it's like sometimes you're a bit like, oh, you know, and I'm like, maybe I don't know. But then I'm like, no, but it is. And yeah. And then other people are, and I'm like, yes, okay. You can
Yeah.
base intuition. Not everything has to be researched or
Right.
maybe.
I mean, the intuition was like the original research, right? Like, and I think we're also returning to that more. Like, you can have white paper research about something and then it gets proved wrong like a decade later or something. Yeah, you've made all these choices based on that research. And,
Now the veil is falling big time, like this whole Epstein, blah, 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 whatever. I mean,
mhm,
it's just more and more of this, oh, you thought this. No, you know, you can't think anything, just feel it. Because even AI too, you don't know, is it real? Is it AI? So just feel it, and that is like the rest we don't know. So
mhm. Yeah, yeah. This is also making me think of, I don't know if I've told you this, but when my son was, yeah, like 4 years old and I wasn't sending him to school, and I grew up in a family that was very focused on education, and my mom and all her brothers were teachers. And she was like, she actually said like I was doing something against the law. And I was like, I was like, no, I'm not. And I like looked it up to confirm. But in the state that I'm living in, which is Washington, formal education isn't obligatory until they're 8 years old. And I'm like,
yeah,
and most people don't, and like I'll say it randomly to people, and they're always so surprised. They're like, what? Like I thought I had to have my kid in school at 4 years old, 3 years old. And I'm just like, no.
I haven't actually checked all that and how, yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm like all into this unschooling, but it's true that
Yeah.
I'm not sure how exactly, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And of course, still here at 8, you don't have to send your kids to public school.
Yeah.
There's just, if you want to be a lawful citizen, there's paperwork that you have to file or whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway, there's many paths in life. Is
Yes,
and is there
there are.
anything else that you would like to share about motherhood or intuitions as we move towards our close here?
Um, I don't know. No, I just, yeah, it was all a lot harder than I thought, but yeah, even when I'm very grumpy about it all, in the end, it's all amazing.
Yes.
Even giving birth. I
Yes.
would maybe, oh yeah, because then I was me. Anyway, that's a whole, and forget it. But yeah, because then I had a miscarriage not long ago because I kind of wanted another baby, but not sure. And then I wasn't trying to get pregnant, but I did. But then we had a miss. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I think I'm done though.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm always on the
Yeah.
fence. Like some days I'm like, oh, it would be so nice, and others I'm like, I can't start all over. Or you can't. Or he's good. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, just.
Yeah. And so interesting that you're saying now, like, yeah, you tried for your son for 8 months and you didn't get pregnant, and then you get pregnant accidentally. It's just, it's so mysterious. I think the more that we can lean into the mystery and
Yeah.
find ways to be comfortable within the mystery of life, that we
Yeah.
I find that I can live with just more flow and joy and ease.
Yes, the mystery and the discomforts, like it's fine. You don't always have to be comfortable, Julia. It's okay. Like, yeah,
Yes.
flow, enjoy the.
Would you tell me what soul means to you? It's part of the name of this podcast, and I try to remember to ask guests how they describe or define soul.
Yeah, to me, soul is like the undying part of me, the part of me that doesn't waver as much. It's the one that chose to come into this body for this experience and all the lessons, and then it'll pull back into whatever and then maybe do it again, or I don't know what's going on with that plan, but that's fine because I'm a human and I'm not really meant to know. But the soul knows, or is doing, I don't know, is doing all that. Then me, I'm like, oh, I'm called Julia and I have a mind and I'm crazy. But the soul is like the more calmer part that knows why all this is, has even planned it, maybe, has said, okay, you're going to learn this and blah, blah, blah. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, beautiful. Where can women find you? And do you have ways for women to connect and work with you online, or are you only doing in-person stuff right now?
Yeah, I do mostly in-person stuff. I do readings online, so that could be a thing.
Like
But other
like card readings, or what kind of readings?
well, I do both. Like I kind of use cards, but I also tune in, and I find the two really. I think I'm not secure enough to only tune in and be like, I'm a psychic. So I need my cards, but it often is very like, I don't know, it goes well together. So I'll do that. I tune in and I see what I feel and see and what I get, and then I do cards. So that I do online, and otherwise, no, I do mostly things here. But if ever anyone wants to come to Mozambique and swim with wild dolphins and just like have an African experience, you can come here. But yeah, no, so I'm on Instagram, Love Heals Julia. I'm sure you'll write it with the underscores.
Yeah, yep, I'll put it in the captions.
I call juliaturcato.com. But yeah, I'm not a huge like online thing. I would love to be like, yes, I meet every month. I do my moon circles live and online, and I have so many ideas. But like, that's another part where I'm just like, how do these women do it? Like, it's incredible. So for me, I can't right now, like my child, the land, planting stuff, refixing this, and then a little bit of an online reading. That's all I can hold for now. So hats off to all the ones who are like seem to be doing so much. Yeah, and online here is also like I don't know, excuses. Let's see later.
Yes, the time will come. Yes. Well, Julia, thank you so much for taking the time to share some of your stories here with me today and with the Heart of the Soul audience.
Thank you for having me. And I wish I could meet you in person one day and like give you a soap or something. But for now, I
Yes,
can give you love.
yes. I loved seeing that connection too, that you make soap and I used to make soap, and so many common threads. And my husband, when I was telling him about this interview, he was just like, oh my gosh, it's so fun that you get to know people across the world. And what if we get to, yeah, go visit someday? I was like, yeah, maybe we will. And so, yeah, who knows?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And have a beautiful day. And I will have a beautiful night.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in and choosing to spend time with me today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of The Heart of the Soul. I would truly appreciate if you might choose to leave a rating, review, or share the show with someone that you know. You can support this podcast by donating to it using the PayPal or Venmo links. If you have stories that you would like to share on The Heart of the Soul, please send me an email through my website. I would love to hear from you. If you would like to work with me, I have both one-on-one and group offerings, online and in person. Find out more on my website, birthingnova.love. If you're listening on Spotify, you can now even send me a voice message. Until next time, remember, be brave, be love, be wild, be you, because you are the only you, and be the change that you seek for yourself and for the generations to come. Sending each of you so much love. Love, love, love. Mwah.